4th down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey, under pressure, throws it. Incomplete. The Buckeyes win. Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott, off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making adjustments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Shore, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Shore coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards.
Here they come.
Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. And Smith, he's got it. Jeremiah Smith. The 2025 College Football National Champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. It's just another day and another Sunday morning after with Ohio State getting another W in what seemed like just a scrimmage waiting for the next one, the big one. It was, the stadium was electric at some times, but man, it was just, you could sense in the crowd, in the stands, everywhere around the shoe. We're just waiting for the big one. Let's just get through this. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Doesn't matter if it's ugly. Doesn't matter if it's pretty. Doesn't matter what happens. I mean, when you have the world's two best receivers in street clothes on the sidelines, does the game really matter? Does it matter what happens as long as you get the W? I don't know. I don't think so. What do you think, Seattle?
No, it does not matter. Everyone needed to get this win, move on. We are now into the heart of the schedule. And that's what that game felt like when it was 14-3 at halftime. It felt like we just needed to get through, score be damned, and get on the next week. And they did.
Score be damned. And it ended up being a pretty darn good score. I am a little bit upset with giving away points because this defense has been historic, absolutely historic. Emily's got it right. Emily's there. Emily, I love you being in here because your comments are fire, just like Doug's. Doug shared. Anyone from the locker room, get in here. The game was like watching paint dry.
Spot on.
I took my daughter to the game, expecting it to be a good atmosphere, and she was actually a little bit bored because her very first game was Ohio State versus Indiana, so it was electric in there, and she got a little bit of that snooze fest, what it's like to go at noon against a team that really doesn't matter right before the Michigan game, right before the game that matters, the game above all games, right? 11-0 though, we got it. I did hear people talking about how there was a Rutgers fan sitting right next to me, and he was like, "You guys are fine. I've never seen a fan base so mad about an incomplete pass or a penalty or something when you're up by 20 points." And I'm like, yeah, you've never been around Ohio State football, have you? Because we just
demand perfection.
We demand perfection. There is a standard to withhold, and we got to withhold that standard every single week, every single drive. And I think the team knows it. I think Ryan Day knows it. What was interesting is, you said earlier, this was just an awful Rutgers team, which made it even harder not to look ahead at the week beyond this, right? I don't know if the team did. They had to have. There's no way you don't look ahead against a team like Rutgers.
It's even more difficult being at home, as silly as that sounds, because when you go on the road, the message and the mentality is this is a business trip. Nobody's here for fun. Nobody's here for travel. You're here on business. Take care of your business. Get home. It's more difficult at home because you're a little more sleepy. And Rutgers has that advantage. Rutgers has nothing to lose. They can come in here. They lose by 33. That's what everyone expected. They're also fighting for bowl eligibility. They got Penn State next week, which, Penn State red hot coming off 2 straight Big Ten wins. But
do you think that was the Penn State win against Nebraska was just because Matt Rule's taking that Penn State job?
I don't know. I would be
like, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one because I'm going to be here next year.
Well, you know, they beat Michigan State and Nebraska, so maybe they've righted the ship in Happy Valley. But with Rutgers, they had that mentality of, hey, we're traveling. It's a business trip. We're number 1 team in the country. No one expects anything from us. You know, so you've got to fight that. And when you're at home at noon against a team you're supposed to dominate with Michigan looming next week, you know, it's really tough to get up for that. We saw that in that first half. Now, I think that fumble probably threw things off a little bit further. I think you get that score and it's 21-3. You can breathe a lot easier at halftime, but it is what it is.
Doug, it's hate week, and I wondered why I woke up and growled like a dog. Logan, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the locker room. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough not to focus. And Ryan Day said it afterwards. The focus was on Michigan once he knew the game was at hand midway through the fourth quarter. And to me, that's coach talk. That means prior to this game, I was thinking Michigan.
It's hard not to. It's human nature.
Yeah.
You know what's ahead. That's why the phrase trap game exists, because it happens everywhere. And it could have been. It could have very well been a trap game in a lot of ways. But they took care of business. And again, this game in reality was never really all that close. I know, 7-3 and then 14-3 at halftime. And it definitely felt like the offense was a little sluggish at times. But by and large, this game was never really in doubt. And that's a testament to the mentality of this team and just the talent of this team.
Is that the worst rushing defense in the country, Rutgers? Because they were,
yes,
at the triple digits in almost every defensive category. And I'm pretty sure all defensive categories, or at least all the ones that mattered, it was 100s or below, which is absolutely awful. And I think it was somewhere around 136 for rushing defense. And we still didn't look like we could get that rushing game going. That right guard situation's got to get solved. I mean, this is going into the last week of the regular season, and we don't know for sure who's going to be the guard to get us through the playoffs. That should have been locked up by now. And I know Tegra had the run last year, got us through all those games in the playoffs, but man, he was supposed to make a step up this year. The way he looked in spring, the way he was bending, his flexibility, he was getting lower. He was hitting the sled like a monster. He just looks confused out there, man. And I don't know what's going on with him. I'd love to see him step it up, like at the end when he gets some more time. Maybe we get 3 weeks off again, and all of a sudden he's a monster. That would be great. I mean, we saw it happen last year when we had to move guys around on the offensive line. Things changed, and guys showed up with another basically a fall camp if you get 3 weeks off. So maybe that's what happens. We'll see. What's up, man?
I would like to see some more continuity on the O-line, and we were checking out the PFF stats on the line, before your show, and I know pass blocking graded out relatively well on the O-line, but this is where data in your eyeballs can sometimes tell 2 different stories. It just felt, especially in that first half, you and I, we're talking how the basic stunts that Rutgers was pulling seemed to be quite effective. They weren't, the O-line was not switching properly. They were not picking up the stunts. And there were a lot of those pass plays that Sayan had to roll out or maneuver around in the pocket. And it wasn't just pressure from that front 4. It was stunts and literally somebody coming in open on him. And I can tell you right now, Michigan sure as hell is watching that film and seeing that. So that's something you need to tighten up right away.
For sure. Oh, man. The Michigan fans are already starting in the locker room, dude. I've had to ban a couple people already. Just trying to absolutely blow up the show. Crazy. All right. Rutgers, Ohio Hicks means Rutgers averages 6.8 yards per rush. I had to give him a hard time. He's a good friend. So 6.8 yards per rush. Ohio State hit 6.7 on par with their average. So, we should be above average. We should most definitely be above Rutgers average, right? I mean, with our offensive line, with what we're getting, with the talent that we have, just with the running backs alone.
Hold on. 6.8 yards per rush.
That's what Rutgers is giving up on average.
I know, but I'm saying that's a very high number. So you run on first down and it's 2nd and 3 every time, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we didn't see that in the game. I mean, a lot of that was by long runs. That Peoples' run was nice to see again because Peoples has been shining, man. I'm telling you, he has always been that home run hitter where if he gets that one cut and gone, he's gone. If he gets that opportunity, like to see more of it, like to see it in bigger games. We saw it, now 2 weeks in a row. Maybe you could count 3 weeks in a row, but he's starting to come on when it counts, man. And think about it. He's only a sophomore. So he's got time too. He's got years if he doesn't, want to transfer out because he knows what's behind him. So this running back room is going to be interesting in the years to come.
And who's to say he doesn't stick around? Again, we all believe Bo Jackson solidified RB1.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have an RB1 doesn't mean RB2 doesn't get in the game quite a bit, especially on
or get in the NFL like last year.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. So we got to talk about this defense, and specifically we got to talk about Caden Curry because he is not getting the love he deserves. Dude's an absolute beast. And if you don't follow Brian Buckeye Stats on Twitter, go follow him right now because he keeps putting these out. And maybe he'll be on the show at the end of the show, but he'll be on the show this week for sure. All right. Caden Curry had a day. 6 tackles, led the team, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 quarterback hit, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and almost a touchdown, which some say could have been ruled a touchdown, but it looked like he was just a tad short from what I saw. From my vantage point in the shoe, I haven't rewatched it on TV. I did see a highlight, and I thought it looked like it was just a tad short too.
It's all right. He did. He had a heck of a game, and he's coming on strong. And again, it's another stat sheet week where you're just seeing different names really in the top 5. And again, there was some garbage time that came with that, but you're just seeing people stepping up every week. As an offense, I don't know how you game plan against this defense. What Correct. You like to stay away from and isolate because this is a complete team defense.
And Brian has it all lined out for you on Twitter too. After 12 weeks, number 1 in scoring defense, number 1 in total defense, number 1 in passing defense, number 1 in yards per play, number 1 in touchdowns allowed, number 1 in passing yards per attempt, number 1 in opponent's red zone scoring percentage. I mean, it goes on and on. Number 1 with plays over 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards. Number 2 in rushing defense. Number 2 in rushing TDs allowed. Number 2 in total rushing yards allowed. This is insane, man. They've only had 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, basically. We're going to see what happens next week. We got to play Ohio State football. We got to enforce our will. We got to enforce our will through the air. We got to get these guys back. That's the big story. Do one or both come back? And I'm not going to say who, but I think one of them sits out.
Could be.
I think one's out.
Could be. And, we've gone through that in the past with Smith and Jigba, right? We're used to that, and that's where it's got to be a next man up mentality. And I will say, I was a little disappointed in Ennis yesterday. I felt that was the opportunity to show up as the wide receiver one, to prove a point that I could be a wide receiver one on, 105, 110 teams in the country. I was a little disappointed. Not a lot of separation. Didn't seem like he was getting open. It seemed like Max Clare was definitely the number one target because he was getting open. Maybe the routes were created to get him open more. But by and large, I thought Ennis could have had that opportunity to really ball out, and it just wasn't seeing that yesterday.
Yeah. I think there's a difference, right? There's a difference in the type of receiver he is. We don't have that guy stretching the field with the length of their body, number one, the height, being able to go up and get the ball, having those expanded windows or target zones where you can throw at. It's different. And that's why you saw a lot more of Max Clare, because he has that window where you can get the ball to him. You have relatively shorter quarterback. You increase the window that he could throw the ball into, it makes it easier to see the field. And what I really loved to see yesterday was what I've wanted to see kind of all year long, was Max Clare and those crossing routes. Seeing him drag across the field after they sent everyone else deep. So a lot of guys were used as a decoy. It was almost some of those Clare, I think the big pass he had, he was barely across the line of scrimmage when he caught the ball. Maybe 2 yards. He just drug right across, and everyone else cleared out wide open. Those are the types of plays that I was hoping to see from him, the seam routes that we haven't seen a lot of. But when it's time to turn up the gas, they're going to do it. And if there's a week to turn up the gas, it's this week. So do I want everyone to come back? Hell yeah. I don't know what happens. I don't know if some of it's, you could think of it either way. You could think of it that they're trying to say the guys are going to be back for gamesmanship. They're trying to make it sound like it's less severe, or they're trying to make it sound more severe. So they're game planning without him, and all of a sudden he shows up. So they're pretty hold it close to the vest when it comes to injuries around the Woody Hayes. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. JJ comes back. I think JJ comes back. I think Tate's injury may be more severe, and I don't know. Obviously, they're not going to tell us. So I have no inside information of it. I think it might be more severe than we really think it is. And if it is an Achilles, like they're saying, you don't want him snapping that Achilles. That's for damn sure, because then he's out the playoffs for sure. So is it rumors? Yeah, everything's rumors at this point. No one knows. Unless you're on that training staff or you're in that room, you don't know. It sounded like he said he was good to go. What was it? Iamaleava, I think, was talking to him after the UCLA game, and it sounded like he said, yeah, I'm good. And JSN that just tried to get back too quickly. They forced him back twice. I don't think that was on him. I mean, Bradley, I understand that, being a little upset that he didn't get back in there, but I don't think that was on him. I think he needed to sit. He needed to rest in order to make it to the NFL. Like, sometimes it's just you got to protect your body.
Absolutely.
That's the game of football.
You also got to protect yourself from what you're trying to accomplish too. I never blamed JSN for sitting out pretty much the entire season. It maybe
Correct.
Something wasn't right. We don't know his body. We don't know the medicals, and went on to be a first round pick and maybe offensive player of the year in the NFL with the kind of year he's having here with the Seahawks. I can't say I'd blame Tate. Again, I don't know his injury. I don't know his situation, but if doctors say, hey, you need time to heal, or you go out there and you try to push it, you snap an Achilles, that's a 12-month injury.
Mm-hmm.
That's falling in the draft. That's a lot of things. So I never blame people for making business decisions. We can hoot and holler about how it's about team and how you got to gut it out and grit it out. Think of it like a family member who's trying to get a job or something really important that they want. They got to make the decisions that's best for them. So, and this is Ohio State. If
Mhm.
Tate does have an injury that's fringe and doctors are saying, listen, unless you have 6 months to heal, you have a really good chance of doing more damage. I expect Ennis to step up. I expect Porter to step up. Adolph to step up. I expect these players to step up. This is Ohio State. So,
Mhm.
yes, would I want Tate on the field? I would. But if Tate were my son and I was hearing all those medicals, I'd say sit out too. Next man up.
For sure. I mean, you got to look at the long-term benefit, risk versus reward. And yes, I hate these all too. I hate all the rumors. JJ will return. Tate, I don't know. And that's how I feel. I don't know if Tate can come back. I think if he could, he would be out there for sure, 100%. I don't think anyone wants to sit this game out. But if you have to, you have to, right? And as JJ tweeted out, it's God's plan. Like, you just have to go with it, man. If it's Achilles, rest is imperative. Absolutely. Like, Achilles is not something you want to snap. It's hard to come back from that.
And I don't think there's any gamesmanship here. You know, if I'm Michigan, I'm game planning for Jeremiah and Tate and Ennis and all of them, because I know I can adjust if one or two of them aren't playing. I can still adjust my packages. You always prepare for the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any gamesmanship played here. And if it is, it's rather silly because it doesn't really impact what Michigan's doing from a game plan standpoint.
Sure. About Michigan, I guess we're taking it straight into Michigan because everyone wants to take it there. You, me, Ryan Day, everyone wants to take it there. The locker room wants to take it there. Bradley's in here talking about Michigan. So let's get on the game. It's around the corner. The countdown has begun 6 days until the trip up to Ann Arbor. Damn it. Just saying that makes me want to make that drive and go up there. I guess that's probably going to happen. Talking about it makes me want to go. But I should sit at home and watch it because it would be so much nicer from my couch. Unless it's a big win. And then it's going to be so much more fun being like 365 days since Michigan's beat Ohio State. I can't wait to say that. And we should all be plastering that everywhere. Get the countdown started. We got to win this game. The only way Bradley sees Ohio State taking the L this year is if the team on offense attacks the outside of the field and on defense, constant pressure on Sang. That's the only way I see us taking the L. The constant pressure on Sang, yes, but Sang gets the ball out so quick. I don't know that they have time to make that as long as we get our receivers back. When we don't have the receivers, we don't have things open. You see how kind of wonky that offense gets. You take the two best receivers in the nation out of the game, it adjusts that offense down to almost average levels. That's why it was tough to go against Rutgers. Think about that, man. You're throwing it up to two top 10. What is Tate?
In terms
What's he
of
projected?
From a draft standpoint, he's going to be a first-round pick.
So 2 first round. We'll say first round. One probably the number 1 overall. Even if he was taken today, Jeremiah Smith will be number 1 overall. Take 2 of those guys out of the game. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. But to your point, someone's got to step up. And I think Bryson Rogers should have been targeted more yesterday. I didn't see him do a whole lot yesterday like I did against UCLA. I don't have the receiving numbers in front of me, but
he didn't even have a receiving.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
But it's fundamentally different.
It was senior night.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But it's fundamentally different when you have Jeremiah and or Tate on the field, because naturally that defense is going to gravitate to those sides. Even just Jeremiah, you're now affecting safety play on top of cornerback play, where it doesn't mean that it's always 2-on-1, but it means the safety is always looking over there, or the linebacker is always shading there on a zone. So he's naturally going to pull the attention and the coverage of that defense, which does open up other wide receivers. And that's where this offense is so prolific when Jeremiah is getting that look. And now you got a first-round pick in Carnell Tate, able to run routes, get open, and execute. That's what made this offense so difficult. What happened yesterday was Brandon Innes is wide receiver number 1. And then you have tight ends by and large. You were not really seeing a lot of wide receivers. Again, to your point, maybe they were looking more at the seniors and things of that nature. And maybe that was a gimmicky game in terms of we're going to feed seniors a little bit more. It's Rutgers. We can kind of do what we want. But that's going to be the difference here. Even Jeremiah alone should naturally create more options for the wide receivers if Tate is not available.
Correct. Always. I mean, Jeremiah Smith changes the game for anyone. That's why, you saw all the offseason drama with like Miami was going to offer him millions of dollars. Dude, he's a game changer for sure. I mean, you saw that one-handed catch when he was in against UCLA last week. Wow. That changes the game, man. You could throw it anywhere. You just throw it up. Boom. JJ's, when he's gone, he's going to have every record for Ohio State receiving, and he almost could have had it this year. Talk about he'll be tops in receiving, in receptions, in yards, in touchdowns. Like, what more do you want? This dude's top of the line. And if he's out of the game, it changes the game immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I want to hit on a little bit on what Bradley was talking about. It's fine. I got what I need. He was talking about being in a locker room with the boys. And I'm going to paraphrase you, Bradley, but I think I catch the gist. You're talking about that chemistry, that camaraderie, this mental, psychological component. And let's be real. That's what's happening here. Ohio State's had more talent than Michigan, I would say, on paper, 3 of the last 4 years, easily. We all know the record doesn't need to be talked about. This is psychological warfare this week. And this is where, what is Coach Day doing in that locker room? Is he overemphasizing it, which I believe, in my opinion, he's probably done the last few years? Is he letting the leaders of the team kind of carry the torch this week and kind of staying back and saying, hey, I'll install the game plan, coaches install the game plan, maybe let the players lead that a little bit more instead of focusing more on the importance of we got to win, focusing on, hey, let's play our game. Let's go up there and play Buckeye football. Let's do what we need to do. And that's where I think he has gotten away from that in this game, not playing his brand of football or Buckeye brand of football. And I'm really curious if he's able to overcome this psychologically, because it seems like it's a hindrance.
I think he did. And I think it started with that flag planning. You go back to that flag planning, Ryan Day had that look on his face. And remember back when James Franklin had that look when he got beat by Northwestern? It's all about how you overcome those obstacles. When you have that look on your face, you either tuck your tail and run, which is what Franklin kind of had to do because he didn't have the team, he didn't have the guts, he didn't have the locker room. Something was missing there. Well, what did Ryan Day do? He said, we still have the major goal left. We have one goal left, the one that everyone wants, the only one team can get. And they went and accomplished that. So what was said in that locker room, we'll never know fully, but we got some of the details. And the team was like, basically was like, that one's on you. And he was like, you know what? You're right. Let's change. Let's move on. And let's galvanize and go win this one. Go out the right way. They did. I think the psychological stuff is gone.
Yeah,
there's not pressure.
There's a key.
If you didn't lose a game. Remember in the beginning of the season, we were like, all right, if Ohio State were to lose to Texas, then Penn State turns around, they're the number one team in the nation. We lose at Penn State. Then the pressure's on at Michigan. because now you're in the playoffs no matter what happens. But you definitely want Indy, and they are locked into Indy. I can tell you firsthand. Ryan Day talked about looking into a guy's eyes, and you know what you're going to get when you look into their eyes. I've been in that Woody Hayes Center, Athletic Center. I've been in the WAC. I've looked in their eyes. I've looked in the players' eyes. They want to get to Indy. I asked Sonny Styles about it. What does getting to Indy mean to you? And the look he gave and the response he gave was absolutely perfect. All our goals are in place. The team up north is in place. No one's been to Indy. No one on this team has been to Indy. No one has a pair of gold pants. It means everything. That's how they can channel their focus on themselves rather than the team at hand. They're doing the same thing. That's been the mantra all season. It's about us. It's about being historic. You ask this senior class, what do you want your team to be remembered as? The only team in history to go back-to-back. It's historical. Like, there will never be anyone to compete with them if they do go back-to-back this year.
Yeah, but you
and they'll have the chance to go three-peat.
You hit on something really important post-game last year. And again, we're speculating here, but we've heard a lot of rumors and stories around this. Players led the follow-up discussion to that game. Mm-hmm. Players said, this wasn't right. This wasn't the way we go out. Mm-hmm. Coaching staff took ownership of that. They adjusted accordingly. But at the end of the day, it was the players who stepped up.
Absolutely.
In the game stretch. That's the same this week. That's what needs to happen this week. And again, if I'm the coaching staff, if I'm Coach Day, I don't say a peep about Michigan. I don't talk about anything. I go to my captains. I sit them down in a room this morning. I say, you're going to run this week. You're going to be the voice this week. We'll give you the game plan. We'll do these things, but you're going to lead that and let it be a player-led discussion, not a coach permeating downward, a coach that has the pressure. And I think Ryan Day in the past, again, speculation, I feel like he's wanted to beat Michigan a certain way. He's wanted to dominate in the run game. He's wanted to establish his will, but he wants to do it for style. And that's been, in my opinion, his Achilles heel the last 4 years, is it doesn't matter. I don't care if they win this game 9-7 on Saturday. It doesn't matter how you win, just win. And that's where I think Coach Day, sitting down with his staff today, game plan, I'm sure they've already put some semblance of a game plan in place, but probably putting the finishing touches this morning, is just play Ohio State football. Play your brand. I don't care if you have 12 rushing yards in the game next week. I don't care if you have 12 passing yards in the game next week. None of the stats matter. None of the style matters. Just go out and play your brand of football and win, and let your players lead the discussion this week. That's in my opinion, how they're going to go out and execute this. But if Ryan Day starts talking about we want to be a tough physical team this week, or we want to establish the run this week, or we want to have more rushing yards in Michigan this week, those are red flags.
No, I think, yes, absolutely. Those are red flags. And I think that is a good point. Do you have the players lead that discussion? Do you have the players bring out Michigan, bring out the game, bring out what we need to accomplish, what we need to do? That's a good approach. I honestly think that in this team will work. The grittiness of this team, the team that wants to show that they earned their own national title, not someone else's last year. They were a piece of that last year. They get credit for that last year, but they want their own. They want one that's theirs. And this is a great lead-in, because we got Zach in here that's one of those guys from up north, if you want to call him that. And he makes some okay comments, so I'll give him that. But it's leading me into Portnoy, having him on Big Noon kickoff. And what he was saying was just so infuriating to Urban Meyer that he turned around. He showed him his back. He could not muster going through listening to Portnoy, not know a damn thing about ball. but just being up there to be a showman. And he was talking about the pressure. And Urban Meyer at his alma mater, UC, was just embarrassed to be there on stage with him. It was embarrassing.
Yeah,
I know you didn't see it because you're not going to give that the time.
No, I don't.
Everyone else on here saw it on Twitter. They saw what was happening, and Portnoy up there he did what he came to do. He got attention. People reposted it, but man, does he look like a fool up there.
That's a show. I mean, and again, this is where I take the approach where I have said on this show in the past, where I'm not going to say the game doesn't matter. I will say I don't think the game matters as much as it has in the past, because I believe every season at Ohio State, you have one ultimate goal, and that is a national championship. You are measured on national championships. If you want to measure yourself against wins against Michigan or Big Ten championships, that's okay. But at the end of the day, from a national perspective, the number one number that matters is national championships. Mm-hmm. So to me, I look at this game and I say win, lose, or draw. You can't draw anymore, but win or lose, you still have your ultimate goal in sight. Now, I think when you go in and you say, these are things I want to accomplish this season, I think there are definitely boxes you want to check: Big Ten championship, and you want to beat Michigan. So I'm not saying it's irrelevant. I'm also not saying it's the most important thing in the world, because we spoke about this quite a bit. If you even go back to the 14 playoff, this game was one of the most important games in the world, because if you lost, you probably knocked yourself out of the playoffs. You lost that chance at a national title, and you may have given your biggest rival the chance to jump into the playoffs and achieve their ultimate goal. So yeah, the pressure was ratcheted up substantially. At the end of the day, God forbid something happens up there and we're now 0-5 against them, you still haven't lost the opportunity at the ultimate goal. We proved that last year. So it's not the end of the world if something happens again. And maybe, again, it's another catalyst to make the run. I do not believe last year's team would win the national championship if they didn't lose that game to Michigan.
I don't either. I say thank you. That's why I left this up here, the flag planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Love it.
You catalyzed this team into a national title.
That was the stupidest thing Michigan could have did.
We got banners because of it.
And it literally galvanized this team. If you would have just walked off the field, I don't know if they have the same angst that they would. That flag plant was monumental.
It made this team a national title team. It made Day change his attitude towards Michigan. And that's why I think this year is going to be different. This year, Bradley says it, 6 more days until the return of the gold pants. It's happening. All right? 0-4 is gone. Michigan's going to tuck their tail back into meaningless games after this, because they're going to have their third loss on the season, be out of the college football playoff scenario, and go play in the Outback Bowl where no one cares. Against no one cares. Get your Reliant Bowl trophy again. You put that in your locker room. No one cares. Sonny Styles, Lorenzo Styles Jr., they're getting their gold pants. All right, Buckeye Hicks, he always has some good ones. The media states Ohio State have never been punched in the mouth. This entire run, Ohio State is from a punch in the mouth. Michigan. Now it's time to get that revenge from that punch in the mouth. All right? It's all about how you respond after you get hit in the mouth.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson said it best.
Everyone
talks crap. Everyone talks shit until they get punched in the mouth. Well, you know what? They took their punch. They swung. They scored. They hung banners. And now they're still undefeated ever since that game. Ever since that flag planning, Ohio State hadn't lost. You changed the game, Michigan. Congratulations. Now it's
But
personal.
that's because, again, if you go into last year, that horrific game plan in that game, it was very clear Ryan Day and that coaching staff wanted to win last year a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to dominate in the run. They wanted to be physical. They wanted to show that presence.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares how you win? That's what they did after that game all the way to today. Is Ohio State has played every game based on what do we want to execute on? How do we want to play? What is
they
our
sucked
strength?
Ohio State. Yeah, they sucked Ohio State in last year to playing Michigan football. The only way you could lose to them.
It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. They played to their strengths, and Michigan made Ohio State play their game. And that was the only way they were going to win that game, because they were depleted of talent. They had even less talent because of injuries, and they brought them down into the mud and played their game. They played right into their hands. Ohio State this week needs to play how they want to play. And I'll take it a step further. I'll tell you right now, I held on to this. I want to see 9 of your first 10 offensive plays passes. I do. Barring wind, I don't know what the weather report is, barring, significant wind or rain. I'm not entirely sure. But if it's just a normal sunny 40-degree day next week in Ann Arbor, I want to see 9 of the first 10 plays passes. You need to pass to run next week. And that's that other thing when we watched last year. And I'm sure some stats say that this didn't happen every time, but it felt like the majority of the time, run on first down, run on second down, third and long, incomplete, or a 4-yard gain, punt the football. That cannot happen this year. Throw.
That up. Interesting you bring that up. Because Brian Buckeye Stats, again, follow him on Twitter if you don't. He has an article coming out. He has all the research for it.
I knew
it's going to be out, I think, Monday. But he has it broken down. Michigan versus Ohio State. When we run twice in a row and then pass, the majority of the game you lose. When we score touchdowns, it's almost always when we passed, even if it's incomplete, one of the first 2 downs. You stretch that defense, they can't put 8 guys in the box, and they can't come after you. Throw the damn ball. Play your game, open up the run later. It's always been for Ohio State since Brian Hartline has been there. You got to pass to open up the run. I mean, there were some other circumstances last year. We had some quality running backs, but it was still the strength of this team was the passing game.
First off, Michigan had 2 defensive linemen picked in the top 13.
Sure. Yeah.
With Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. They had elite talent on that D-line.
Correct.
You were running into the heart and the strength of their team because you wanted to establish something. You wanted to win a certain way. Who gives a darn how you win this game? But your strength on offense is your passing game. Let's be real. We can talk about run stats against Rutgers and UCLA and Purdue and anything you want to throw at me. We all, if we took true serum, would know that this offense runs via pass. You pass the run. It is a passing team that can sprinkle on the run. And that's, again, where I would say pass the ball, especially if Jeremiah is in, and say, okay, you want to double team him. We're going to have Ennis. We're going to have Claire. We're going to have any of our other options available.
It's the passing game. Don't try to run it up the middle against this team, even this year. Even though they don't have those stud defensive tackles, this is still a defensive-led team. Let's go into some of their stats, actually. Let's go there. You were talking about their run offense.
They're ninth. Yeah, well, I was going run defense, but they're ninth in the nation in rushing yards against. Again, this is still a very talented Michigan team. Especially that front 7, they are always going to be exceptional at stopping the run. They have great defense up there. And again, your strength is not your running game. It is not. So obviously, if Ohio State goes up there and wants to establish the run or get into the flow of the game by running the football, they're going to find themselves down 10-0 real quick. Pass the ball, especially.
I agree.
So, what other stats you want to look at? I mean, we can talk stats all we want here.
No, we do need to talk about their pass defense. You talked about their rush defense. It was 9th in the country.
Hold on. I want to make sure I got that. Yeah, opponents' rushing yards. Yep. I had a bunch of different stat tabs up, making sure.
What was their pass defense?
I have to pull that one up. My bad.
And then also we need to go what their offense is, because their pass offense was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, their pass offense, Michigan's pass offense is 98th. Let me see. They're rushing. They're 10th in the nation in rushing, which makes complete sense.
Well, yeah, but their best offensive weapon is out. Justice Haynes, if he was in the show, that's a different story, because he was explosive. But he's out.
Yeah. And they're 45th. What? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Maybe Justice Haynes can come back in the postseason.
Yeah,
but he's not coming back for the Ohio State game.
But Michigan's 45th against the pass yards. I'm looking at opponents' yards per game specifically, which again makes sense. And again, you always have to look a little deceptive with stats, right? Where good teams typically are winning quite a bit in the second half of games, so a lot of teams are passing against them. That, to sit here and say 45th, I still think that's really good, because by and large, Michigan's probably winning quite a bit in the second half of games. So teams are passing predominantly. So you're going to give up some garbage yards here and there.
Well, I got to take a pause before we get into Michigan anymore. We got a new sponsor, Polymarket. I'm going to get the commercial up here later on so we can play that in between. But go check out polymarket.com. This is a direct link so that we can retain some funding to make this show even better every time. Get it on here a little bit more often, too, instead of twice a week. So go check it out, polymarket.com. Links in the comments. I'll post it again at the end of the show, too. So appreciate your time. Appreciate your efforts. Follow us on X, Buckeye Backers on X, Buckeye Backers on YouTube, Buckeye Backers on Facebook. Like, share, subscribe. Give us the comments, and the locker room is blowing up. Everyone is ready for Michigan. This is awesome. I love this. I can't even keep up with all the comments now. I mean, there's so many good ones in here too. Let's get on to this. Let's talk more about Fox. I want to get back to this. The only time Fox is on in our house is when the Buckeyes are playing.
Same here, Doug.
You know what? I don't watch it any other time. I mean, maybe some other games, but I'm not watching the pregame. I don't think I'll be able to watch Big Noon Kickoff this week. I mean, I can't watch that. With Dave Portnoy on there, it's trash. Like, you have all these professionals on there. I think what Fox needed to do, if they wanted some Michigan influence, they have some already, but go get Jake Butt. They needed to go the other way. They tried to.
Well, they've had Charles Woodson on the show for years. They don't need that. They have the Desmond Howard compliment and Charles Woodson. They've already had.
I think they tried to get the Pat McAfee. They tried to get Pat McAfee's.
There's one Pat McAfee. There's one Pat McAfee.
Exactly, and they struck out big time.
That's why you go in a different direction. You don't say we're going to compete against that. You cannot. You're going to get obliterated. And from what little I've seen of it and what you've told me quite a bit, it sounds like they are failing miserably in that mission. But I don't know. I don't know what their ratings are. That's the thing. And again, if I'm a Michigan fan, maybe I am more likely to view Big Noon Kickoff than College Game Day. I don't know.
Well, I think you do.
Maybe, yeah.
I absolutely think you do.
They have a strong fan base.
As a Michigan fan, you respect and you like Portnoy. Like, he's donating to the program. He's bringing views, bringing eyeballs, bringing attention. Yeah. He's a graduate. So, I mean, if a Buckeye guy was up there, I'm trying to think of someone that would be synonymous. I can't think of anyone that is like a Showtime guy. I mean, maybe if you had like a more amped up Joey Galloway or something up there, just up there talking crap the whole time. I don't know who does. I don't think we have anyone that just talks crap all the time.
I'm sure they're out there, just not at that level that you'd hire it for a show.
Well, yeah,
but
not at that level.
No. And that's fine. Again, I disagree with the concept of favoring any one team, period. Again, if I'm putting on my business hat and I'm a business exec and I got to compete against Pat McAfee, I don't mind bringing in a goofy show person, right? That's funny, that tries to compete against McAfee. McAfee's not biased. I mean, yeah, he definitely loves his alma mater, West Virginia, but that's okay because it's an irrelevant university in the grand scheme of things. So
don't say that too loud. Come on, West Virginia's going to make a comeback.
Oh, I've spent a lot of time in West Virginia. I love it there, but I'm just saying that that's a neutral team for him to be biased towards. No one's going to get offended being biased towards West Virginia. The problem is if you bring in anybody who's biased towards a major school, in Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama, Georgia, that's when you start to irritate the opposite end of that fan base. And that to me is not a really smart business decision. And so he can get up there, he can do what he wants, but at the end of the day, if you're an Ohio State fan, I don't know why you're watching that big noon kickoff. Just turn the game on at 10 after the hour when the game starts, like I do.
Is ESPN going to be there?
I don't know. I don't know if they've announced that yet. I was going to look it up, but I think they do it later in the day. They might be at Texas A&M. Let's be honest.
Oh,
well, no, that's a Friday game. Texas.
Is it really? I haven't looked that far ahead.
It is Friday night.
Wow. That's going to be awesome. That's going to run into a lot of playoff games, too. High school playoff games. Texas.
But that's always Black Friday. They always do Black Friday.
Really?
That's pretty standard. Yeah. You just haven't noticed it because one of the teams, or sometimes both, aren't really relevant. So I don't think it's been announced yet.
But there's always been a Friday night game. I mean, someone's always played on Friday.
Oh, there's lots of games on Friday.
Recently.
Georgia Tech is 3:30 Eastern. Iowa, Nebraska always plays on Black Friday. Texas A&M. I mean, it's a good slate of games.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's get into this by Buckeye Hicks. Ryan Day isn't saying the game doesn't matter. He's coaching process. Listen to the staff. Everyone quoting it. Staff, coaches, everyone is quoting it. I agree. It is the process. I mean, look what's got them this far. It's not different. We need to play our game, and I totally agree with that. You need to play a Buckeye game. You don't need to lean into what they want you to do like you did last year. That's where it was different last year. I don't think de-emphasizing the game is the correct approach either, though. I think you still emphasize the game, but emphasize the game with your own attitude. Don't emphasize the game with their attitude. That makes no damn sense. Play your game that wins you the game. There's always a matchup that you want to exploit. You always find that fish, what Urban Meyer said. Find the fish. Where is it we can attack and attack over and over and over again? Where do we need that play? Where are we going to go when we need you the most? Is it going to be running JT Barrett up the middle, off tackle? In those days it was. What is our go-to play? Is it throwing it up to Jeremiah Smith and just seeing what he does? Go make a freak play? Maybe. Is it a drag over the middle when Jeremiah Smith runs everyone deep and Carnell Tate runs everyone deep? Maybe. But you got to find that play that's your bread and butter, and you got to use it when it means the most. All right? And that doesn't mean starting the game off 2 runs, then a pass. 2 runs, then a pass. 2 runs, then a pass. And then when it is the end of the half, pass the ball all over the field and score. That's what you did last year, and that's not going to work.
But that's where it can feel like we're splitting hairs a little bit with this.
Okay.
Where I agree with Buckeye Hicks about process, and we talk about going out and playing your brand of football. That doesn't mean winning a certain way. There is a difference there. Playing Buckeye brand of football is your offense is led by its passing game. So you're going out there and passing the football to lead to that strength. It's not because you're trying to put up 450 passing yards in the game. And again, winning a certain way is how you lose the game. I want to do X. I need to do X. That is the pathway to what we've seen the last 4 years. If you go out and say the process is we're going to execute Ohio State football, we're going to lean into our strengths, we're going to do what we want to do in this game, that's a little bit different than saying I need to dominate in the trenches. I need to do this. Go out and pass the football, light it up, and do those things. And also, too, with splitting hairs, you can emphasize the importance of this game because right now, you're really in a lot of ways in playoff mode because you lose this game, you don't achieve the next step you want. Now, Correct. It doesn't mean your season's over, but winning this game gets you to another place you want to go to. That's how I'm framing this. It's Michigan. I have to beat Michigan. The only thing in the world that matters is beating Michigan. This is an important game because if you win this game, you now get to check a box and go to the next game that you want to check a box for. So you're treating this week forward now as a playoff mentality. It's different than we must beat Michigan. The only thing in the world that matters is beating Michigan because I think that was their mentality the last few years. And that's caused that tightness that you don't want. You need that quiet confidence that goes into that playoff run last year. Everyone knows you lose a playoff game, your season's over. So that's all out on the table. But they play with that confidence of saying, we're going to play our brand of football. We understand the magnitude and the pressure of each game, but we're going to go out and execute. That's that mindset shift. Take that playoff mentality and apply it to Michigan and quit worrying so much about the name and logo and worry more about what the game as a whole means.
Sure. Yeah. And it means you reach your goals. And this year, more than ever, going to Indy, you have the chance to win a Heisman. You have the chance to win a Biletnikoff. You have the chance to win a Big Ten title. You have a chance to win the #1 overall seed. But all that depends on you getting to Indy because that's the last shot. The last shot at winning all those. The last shot at achieving all those goals is in Indy. If you don't get through this game, there's a good chance you don't get to Indy because I think Oregon is the one going. Now that USC got knocked off, Michigan has a chance at going. So it's going to be a 3-way tie, Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon.
Yeah, I don't know what the tiebreaker is. In the event Ohio State does lose, you'd have 2 one-loss teams in Oregon and Michigan. I don't know.
And Ohio State.
In Ohio State, but
if you have a 3-way tie, the head-to-head does it count?
I don't know what the tiebreaker is.
That's something you can look up while we get into this. All right. Buckeye Hicks was talking, I just want to see this D versus Underwood. And Underwood, my goodness, you've never seen a freshman like me. Well, that backfired real quick. Never seen a freshman like me. The dude, I mean, he's got freak skills, but he's not performing like a freshman that's out there talking like that. If you're going to talk like that, you got to back it up. You got to have some stats. And he's shown glimpses that he's going to be great. But he sure as shit hasn't shown I'm the best freshman you've ever seen. I'm not seeing that. Have you seen that? I mean,
no.
He's lost 2 big games too.
Right.
9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
But I would say I told you this last year.
Go ahead.
It is incredibly difficult for any freshman to come in and start playing in a Power 4 conference, let alone the quarterback position. We talked about it with Raiola 2 years ago. It doesn't mean Bryce Underwood's not going to be a great quarterback. It just means he's a true freshman playing in the Big Ten. That is really difficult to do.
Correct. Is he 19? 18? I think he's 19 for some reason. That stands out.
It's still really young. I mean,
He's got some
talent though.
5 rushing touchdowns, 322 yards, 4.7 average. I mean, so he's good on the ground too. And you can see he's a big dude. He's going to be hard to take down, but not for this defense. This defense not worried about a running quarterback. Not with Caden Curry. Not with K-Mac. Not with linebackers that Arvell Reese could spy him and it wouldn't even be hard. I mean, Arvell Reese loves to spy. And better believe he'll be spying because they're not passing the ball. What was their offensive pass ranking in the nation?
Their pass ranking?
Yeah. 68th?
Yeah, I
can't remember.
45th.
45th. And then their rushing ranking was 10th?
Ninth, I
Ninth.
believe. Yeah.
No, that was their defense.
Yeah, I'm talking defense. You're talking offense?
Offense, yeah.
Oh, I don't. Their passing yards per game on offense is 98th, and their rushing is 9th. Yeah, but they're a run-oriented team. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
But it makes it easier for a number one defense to target them, right? You don't have to worry about downfield. You stack the box. Go ahead, chuck it up. See what we got. We could put IGB and Matthews one-on-one with their receivers. They do a lot better than that in practice every single day. They go against better receivers every day. I'm not worried about how our defense responds. Our defense will keep us in the game. It's whether our offense plays Ohio State football or Michigan football. What do you want to do? Bradley, rewatch USC and Michigan game. It tells a lot. Yeah. Pass the freaking ball. That's what it tells you. Pass the ball, win the game. Ann Arbor weather forecast. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
Cloudy and 33 degrees.
No
rain, no snow. And then after this, it's all track meets from there, right? You go to Indy. Win this game, you go to Indy. Then hopefully win that, you go to the Rose Bowl. And then it's all indoor from there.
So I have it right here. So if Oregon beats Washington on Saturday and Michigan pulls the upset, Oregon would be in. So the only way Michigan would be in is if they win on Saturday and Washington beats Oregon.
Why do they get the tiebreaker? Why does Oregon get it?
The tiebreakers are head-to-head. So Oregon and Michigan don't have a head-to-head. And then the second tiebreaker is common conference opponents. The tied teams will be compared based on record against all common conference opponents. Oregon's would be 37-34, and Michigan's is 29-42. I'm just going off what I'm reading. This is all news to me. So, and I will say Yahoo Sports is my reference point. Take it for what it's worth.
So if it's a three-way, it's going to be a three-way tie between. Does Ohio State automatically get kicked out because there was a head-to-head?
Here's Oregon's best bet to repeat as Big Ten champions would be to win out and have Michigan upset Ohio State in the regular season finale. In that event, Oregon and Indiana would meet in a rematch for their regular season matchup.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what I'm reading. Okay. So it's basically, I don't know. Again, I'm using Yahoo Sports.
That's true.
As a reference point. Could be accurate, could be blatantly false. I don't know, but we'll cite our sources. At the end of the day, just go win on Saturday, and then we don't have to worry about this conversation whatsoever.
Doug, 35-6 Buckeyes. That's what should be. I think it's going to be a little bit more low-scoring game than that. And it also depends on the wide receivers. Who's going to be in there?
That's a huge factor. It's a huge factor.
You guys nervous? You look nervous, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
You're nervous? I don't know that I'm.
Saying.
It depends.
I'm nervous every year. I'm nervous when they blow them out. I'm nervous every single year for this game, simply because this is psychological. It is such a psychological game, and we're going to see the true mental toughness of this Ohio State football team, from coaching staff down to the water person and everywhere in between. We're going to see. Do I think they can? Absolutely. Do they have to go execute? Yeah, they do.
This is a good point. Julian Carlsbad.
Yes, he did.
Devin Sanchez had that pick on a 2-point conversion.
I was going to say, he's
coming into his own. He had a couple of plays where he bid on things and he was a little confused in coverage this season.
Technically not an interception, but
what is it technically called on the stat line?
There's no interceptions. I've always wondered that if an interception, if
on a 2-point conversion,
in 2-point, and they don't
count on the stat line.
I'm staring right at it.
What is it? A pass breakup?
No. It's just almost like a non-play.
You don't get a tackle for a 2-point conversion either?
I don't know.
I'm
telling you, I'm looking at Ohio State interception.
You don't get the sack? I mean, if you don't get the interception, you shouldn't be able to get the sack, right?
I don't know that level.
Man, that's something.
I know what he's saying. Devin Sanchez intercepted a pass.
Yeah, it happened.
I understand. It happened. We all saw it. I'm just telling from a pure stat standpoint, they don't give you an INT for it.
2 interceptions versus Underwood. I see him throwing at least one. If there's
they threw one last year.
Our model, which we'll talk about more on Tuesday, we're going to do an extra show on Tuesday. Brian Buckeye Stats puts together a model every single game, and he does extra games too. And the model's been pretty spot on. So I think that it had 28-14. I'm going to have to double check that, what the model had, because he just updated it too. So originally he did it a week before, but we got to figure out everything and get the model, like all the stats from this week in it too. So we'll see. Only 2 good defenses Michigan has played is Oklahoma and USC. They shut down Michigan to 13 points each. The Buckeye defense is better. Doug's score prediction of 6 points is not out of bounds, in my opinion. I don't think it is either. I don't know if we get that many points on them unless we have both wide receivers in the game. Wide receiver 1A and 1B. We got to have Tate. We got to have Smith back.
It doesn't. None of this stuff matters. Again, it's
true. Just win.
Well, none of it matters in the sense of who you played the last 11 games. Doesn't matter. I mean, we played that game last year. We had no business. That game had no business last year being close at all.
It should have been a blowout. Absolutely.
Should have been a blowout. On paper, absolute blowout. So all this stuff, again, it doesn't matter. It's going out there. Honestly, I think that first quarter is critical. I really do. I think Ohio State has to set the tone in that game, whatever that tone means. If it's leading with the defense, great. I really think those first 1 or 2 drives getting a touchdown is critical. It's about building confidence and understanding, hey, when we go out here in Ann Arbor and play our brand of football, this is the result, and it's a positive result. And again, I think the greatest fear I have is seeing another tight Ohio State team playing against Michigan. We said this all along. Beating Michigan is fun. It's really fun. And when we're winning games, 62-39 or 56-27, how much fun we were having on those Saturdays, just obliterating them. That to me, if I'm Coach Day, those are the games I'm pointing to before, 2018, 2019. I'm showing those games and saying, look how much fun everyone's having. That's what you can do. But that's the point, is it's not about being tight or being nervous or being scared. It's we go play our brand of football. I'm not saying Michigan has a bad team or 62 points can get put up. But if you play our brand and you start scoring points and you start winning this game and you're up 14-17, you're going to start having a lot of fun. and then that fun's going to permeate in how you play. So that's the message they need to really be resonating here. On top of everything else is go have fun. Beating Michigan is fun.
Josh looked this up or knows this, which is interesting. I think the stat line is even stranger. If they return the try for points, then it's considered an interception.
Because you'd have to quantify it somehow. So that makes complete sense. But if you just intercept and take a knee, I think it's a dead play. It's very odd.
Just a failed 2-point conversion. That's all.
Basically, yeah.
2 interceptions, I would love it. If they pass enough, you're right. If they just run the ball all day, then there won't be the opportunity for those interceptions. I see more of they're going to try to get him rolling out and use his legs.
Yeah.
I see more of like sack fumbles, those type of turnovers happen in this game. Like someone hitting the ball out of his hands, Caden Curry getting after him, knocking the ball out of his hands, Downs or Arvell Reese, and Kenyatta Jackson getting after him.
Yeah, but I think Jackson and Curry, I'm glad you brought that up. I think those two are key in this game because I actually do not care as much about the sacks. I care about contain. Because if you keep Underwood in the pocket and contained, I have more confidence in our secondary versus their receiving core. And it doesn't mean Underwood's bad or receiving core is bad. I just think we have that strength. You start letting Underwood break contain and get out of the pocket, you're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think that's where Arvell Reese comes and cleans up shop.
You got to be patient. You got
to think.
Got to have gap integrity. You got to do the little things right.
Well, I mean, they've shown that they can do that against Washington.
Yeah.
They've shown that they could, you can't say against UCLA.
Mon Williams is not Bryce Underwood. I'll take Bryce Underwood any day.
Yeah, but he's got speed and he's got skills and he can get outside and he can burn you. The fact that they contained him is what I'm trying to really, really push that point. If you can contain him, you can contain anyone. Maybe it takes another tackler because Bryce Underwood is physically different.
Yeah,
but the speed is the difference, right?
Well, that's where speed gets contained with containment. That's how you.
And that's what they did against Washington.
They did. I just challenge to say I think Bryce Underwood's a different level of athleticism. Now, to your point, speed is speed, but I think you also have that maneuverability in the pocket and that poise, and Underwood has shown that. Damon Williams, I don't know. There's something missing with him. I'm not trying to be insulting. Even watching him at UCLA last night, it was just something's not right there.
I love this. Zach, I know what it feels like losing 4 in a row. I couldn't imagine how you felt losing 7 in a row. It would have been awful. It hasn't happened in my lifetime, and I don't see it happening again. I just don't. You're going to see this defense, and you're going to see a defense you haven't seen since the Texas game. I like that comment, Natty Times. They showed up. They were confusing. And I know it was just a different game, right? It was a different level just because of all the pressure, number one, which Ohio State was able to overcome. I just want to point that out there for everyone. There was a lot of pressure in that game. You had a first game starting quarterback that you knew nothing about. And that defense produced. That defense held them in the game. The offense wasn't producing a lot. They took their chunk. They had that pass to Cardinal Tate, and they got that long touchdown. But other than that, they weren't producing a whole lot chunk plays. There was a couple overthrows, a couple drops. Actually, they were all drops, weren't they, in that Texas game?
A couple,
Daniel was on fire. He didn't throw it a lot, but it was almost all
Jeremiah had a few early drops in that game. Yeah. And
a lot of people are saying that this team hasn't been tested. Well, they were tested right off the bat in one of the best games of the season at that point, right? And go back and think about that. Week 1, out of the gates, Texas, you beat the number 1 team in the nation. That was huge. And there was a lot of pressure. This team didn't know what they had. They lost everyone on defense, and the defense showed out. So those pressure games, it started off with pressure this season. Yeah, maybe it's dwindled off a little bit, but going up to Washington was no joke either. There was pressure there. Washington was on that 22-game win streak at home. That ended real quick with Ohio State coming to town. So there's been pressure. This team it's not that this team isn't set up.
That will prove itself out. Again, if Ohio State goes back to the national championship game, then it wasn't that they weren't tested. It was they just had so much talent. They were making everything look easy. But they faltered, then okay. Tells a story.
You know, Temple of Brutus, if this happens, you're talking saying for Heisman. Saying does to Michigan what he did to Penn State. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interception. The world watches excellence on both sides of the ball. Go Bucks. Arvell, Sonny, Downs, and Curry are not going to allow another loss, not to Michigan. I'm in agreement with you. This team is different. It's built different. They have the grittiness. They have the expectations, but they're focused on the team. They're focused on their goals. And they just have so much damn talent all across this defense that it's just so hard to imagine. And the coaches are so good and they're focused. I don't think you have a day mental collapse again.
No.
I think you go back and look at his face after that flag planting. And like I said earlier, it could have gone one of two ways. And I think that there was pressure for it to go tail between the legs right off somewhere else. But they galvanized and they won.
Well, we did shows leading up to the week of Tennessee game.
Mm-hmm.
When I didn't have confidence. Nobody had confidence going into that. We had no idea what team we were going to see. You know, all we were hearing Tennessee fans coming in, 20-degree night game. Mm-hmm. We had no idea how they were going to bounce back from that. And they proved it. But again, this is a different team. It's a different coaching staff. It's a different everything.
Sure.
And sometimes it's hard to not revert back to your old ways, especially to everyone's play when you get punched in the mouth. Michigan gets the ball first. They go down the field and scored 7-0. How do you react? What team are you really? Mm-hmm. That's, those are the kind of things you have to mentally prepare for and say, no, I'm not going to go off script. I'm not going to get nervous. I trust this team. We're going to go out and execute our brand of football.
And like Natty Time says, the first time Underwood runs and gets hit by Reese or Styles, it'll be the last time I'll try to run. Can you get in his head quick? I mean, that's real. When you get hit like that as a young quarterback against grown-ass men that are going first round of, I don't know where Sonny Styles is projected, but Reese is at least top 10. When you get hit by those guys, those 6'4", like 250-ish, both of them, then they have speed for days. I mean, that's a collision that you're going to hit. If you can get in his head, I want no more of that, he's not going to be running around the corner. He's not going to be going up the middle. He's going to be getting rid of that ball. And that's where the interceptions, that's where the turnovers happen.
But also say getting in a guy's head like Underwood, whose athleticism is how he makes his plays. Mm-hmm. Keep him in the pocket on 3rd and 12, and he has to throw an incomplete pass. And then next series, he stays in the pocket. He can't get out. He throws incomplete passes, or he throws 4-yard gains, and it's 4th and 8, and you got to punt. That's also psychologically grinding too. It's not just about, we need to hit him in the first series.
Correct.
You need to keep him in the pocket, make him realize, holy cow, there is nobody open, and he's throwing it away or anything like that. That's psychological too. And then the second he does feel like I got to get out of the pocket and make a play, that's when you come lay the lumber.
For sure. Yeah. When you can't escape, you can get frustrated because you can't make any
I don't
play.
need 3 sacks the first series or anything like that. It's not about that. It's we're going to take away everything that you think you can do, and that's psychologically demoralizing.
For sure. Man, Matty P is going to put Underwood in the blender.
It lifts to God's ears, man.
So as far as live streams, take a break here. Monday, we always do the college football projections based on the merit-based model. So that should be close to wrapping up what the final projections would be. Obviously, there's, 2 more weeks of games left. Tuesday, we're going to do a breakdown show with Brian Buckeye Stats. Wednesday's the big one, boys, ladies and gentlemen. We got Garyon Conley coming on the show. He's going to be doing a breakdown of what it takes to get back into the game and what it takes to win 4 gold pants. You guys are talking about the 4 gold pants? Well, Garyon Conley is going to tell us a little bit about what it takes, what the mindset should be. He doesn't know what the mindset's like never winning them because he always did. So he's going to have to go back to freshman year to talk about it. All right. Couple more comments and then it's time. It's Michigan week. K-Mac is key. Absolutely. And if you go ahead, I think Matt's getting the call. Time to come off the office. So appreciate you joining us. Thanks for waking up early.
My
Peace
pleasure.
out, Matt. I'll stick on here for just a little bit because there's some more comments in there we got to get to. We'll see you, man. Yeah, K-Mac is key. K-Mac is key every game, but this whole defense is, it seems like you can't discount any of them. K-Mac has shown out just the way he pushes through that line. He's going to be one of those guys just like last year. Ends up being a first-round draft pick, and now he's projected to be, I think, 23rd is the last projection ESPN did. Amazing. It's just amazing how good this defense is. Talked about putting Underwood in a blender. Ohio State's every team Super Bowl. You're absolutely right. Julian Carlsbad, absolutely right. Every opponent coaches additions for the future jobs and promotions. That's a good point, too, because when you're playing against Ohio State, all eyeballs are on you. So the coaches are doing, their best impressions of, hey, how can I get a bigger paycheck? How can I move on to a bigger program? So even when you're playing against a nobody, you're playing against a somebody because those coaches got to bring it if they want to continue their career and their upward trajectory. Caden Curry, 4 sacks and 2 tackles for a loss. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me in a game like this, the way Caden Curry, the way his motor is, the way he's playing, his physicality, his knack for getting to the quarterback. But 4 sacks, that's a lot. That's a lot in this game. Doug Shepard says to Matt, thanks for getting up early. Thanks for getting up early. I'm going to go back to this, man, Caden Curry, just because you guys were talking about it. 6 tackles led the team, 2 sacks. So you have two sacks and 6 tackles versus Rutgers. I don't think getting 4, I think that's a little bit too much. I'm not ready to give my prediction for the Michigan score. Got to look more into it, watch some more film, talk a little bit about it more later on. But Wednesday's show is going to be awesome. Having Garyon Conley on here is absolutely clutch. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to see how his comeback's going. So he was injured. He's rehabbed, and he's ready to go. He doesn't care. He loves the game of football and ready to get back to it. So it doesn't matter if it's UFL or NFL. He's going to go, and he's going to show out. So we're going to see what that process is like for him. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's Michigan week, baby. Michigan week. And we're ready. We're going to be bringing some extra shows. Like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll have shows. So be here for it. I'll obviously be putting out some articles on collegefootballbackers.com. So you got to go check out cfbackers.com. I'm going to share it for you. Let you see a little bit of it. We got articles from across the nation, so here we go. Let's tune this up real quick. All of our podcasts are on here too, so if you want to go and check out the Wolverine backers, see what they say about this week. Obviously, Buckeye backers, you're here, and the Bayou Bengal backers. Going to have the Hawkaholics on here shortly too, but these are typical articles we have. So anywhere across the nation, we do have a lot of Buckeye content, obviously, because there's been a lot of commitments lately. So Texas Tech. So any of the other teams that you want to read about too, my article about the focus was on the Scarlet Knights, but Michigan was really where everyone's mind went. That was kind of the preview for this week's. But we got some great stuff on here. We finally got I'll say a sponsor that we really like. So Poly Market is our sponsor now. So we will be having some more Polymarket content. I do have it in the chat up here. So if you want to go check that out, if you're into betting, then get on there. You can bet on anything on Polymarket. Check it out. Until tomorrow, God bless. Have a good rest of your day. And the Buckeyes are 11-0. It's on to Michigan, on to Ann Arbor. God bless. Take care. Peace out.